Welcome to the Entertainment Rants Podcast, your number one source for all things entertainment. Join host Marco Mazzola and his fellow ranters as they sound off on the latest movies, TV, and the world of entertainment. Now, here are your ranters for the hour, Marco, Mila, Larry, and Bruno.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Entertainment Rants Podcast. I am, as always, your host, Marco Mazzola, and with me tonight are a bevy of ranters. Let's go around the room and say hello to Larry.
Hey.
Okay, we're good. That's fantastic. We've run the room, and how's everybody doing tonight? Great. Fantastic. I'm really glad I got that new intro going. Fuck.
I know, right? We haven't gotten a solid four.
Once in The Mandalorian, that's it.
That was it, right?
Man, our crew's like abandoned us. Where are you? Come back, Mila. Come back, Bruno.
Please.
We miss you. But my aim's improving. So, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are starting on May. What do we call this one? It's our May anew, right? Spring anew.
Spring anew.
So we're talking about directors' first movies.
Yeah.
They're go. You know what we remember their first outing as a director. Their staple. Not always their best one.
Not always their best one. No.
Some yes. Some yes. Some of it is their best one, and they kind of shifted from there. But yeah, definitely. So we're starting out tonight with my pick with Kevin Smith, who directed Clerks.
Clerks.
Yes. So this came out in I had it in my head. Was this 94? 94. It's an hour and 32 minutes. I remember this when it came out. I personally was not that I wasn't a fan. It didn't really hit my radar when it came out. It was the year I graduated high school, so it should have, in a way. Like it was kind of like, but it wasn't necessarily centered like in a world that I would have tapped into. But my brother, was a massive fan. Loved this movie. Like this was right in his wheelhouse. The subject matter of the movie, which is funny, I grew to love this movie over time watching it because my brother really loved this movie. So we ended up watching it together, and, it grew on me. It's an indie film. It's shot in black and white. We'll go into the whole how it got made and, basically why it got made and the shoestring budget and all the kind of, what ended up happening and how it got produced and distributed and all that kind of stuff. What happened? I just lost myself there for a second. Okay, is my headphone that plugged in there?
Yeah, you're in there.
All right, good. Well, there I have it. I just lost myself for a second. Okay, I'm back. So, but I guess what drew my brother to it is the main character's name is Dante, and that's my brother's name. So, that guy's like, oh my God, that's my name in a movie. That's pretty cool. So the main character being Dante drew him to it, and that just evolved from there. So, so that was sort of my introduction to Clerks and where I came about. I started to watch the movie, and then have since followed Kevin Smith's movies ups and downs.
Now, was this the first Kevin Smith movie that you saw?
Yes, in fact, it was the first Kevin Smith. Yeah, his first one I saw, and then after that, I kind of saw them in order. Mallrats after that, and Chasing Amy, and here and there I've missed a couple. Just the more recent ones.
Well, it's basically just Clerks 2, Clerks 3, Dogma. Dogma was good. I like
Dogma. is one of my favorites.
Dogma was
actually.
Good. I really like Dogma.
Not that you can find it anywhere, but it's for certain reasons. But it's really hard to track down a copy. Actually,
really?
Yeah, it's not on streaming, and it will because of the religious aspect of it.
Oh, that's I had it on DVD, and I got rid of all my DVDs. And that was one of them.
Yeah, good luck. Even trying to find it on DVD is really tough. They've kind of buried that movie because of the religious stuff. It's
I might have
they got a lot of flack and pushback.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
So Miramax had a lot of problem with trying to release.
I might have to go. I might have to go back to the person I gave all my DVDs back and go, hey, can I just get Dogma?
Or just
that's
get
the
it
only one I want.
Whatever,
I just want Dogma back.
Yeah, I think I have it on a copied version or something like that I had at one point. But yeah, you can't find it on streaming. It's really hard to just find.
I bought that in Blockbuster.
Yeah, it's really tough. And again, that is one of my favorites as well. But some of the more recent ones have been a little bit of a challenge. I loved Red State. I love some of the other stuff that he came out with. But the Walrus one was a little tough.
Oh,
Tusk was a little tough. That one was rough, but then he had the newer ones, Yoga Hosers, and so it was like once he started like.
Oh, I want to see any of those.
I know. There's been a lot of stuff. Once he kind of did the whole like, hey, I'm a wakened baker, and I'm gonna start doing everything from the fact that I just smoke pot constantly. They started to get a little bit further out there for me. You know, once he started podcasting consistently, and he had a lot of the stuff like Tusk. Was is that causing that problem again? Because they're both plugged into the same outlet. Yeah. So once he, he was doing his podcasting, and like that's where Tusk came from, right? It was literally like an idea that they had on a podcast, and they made it a movie, right? It doesn't mean it was a good idea, but it was an idea. So it came out from that. But anyway, Clerks was a good idea. So do you want to go through what Clerks was about? Or how it came about?
Well, it's this is your pick. I'm gonna let you kind of run with it.
Okay.
But before we go off, this was actually not my first Kevin Smith movie.
Okay, what was your first?
My first one was Mallrats.
Okay, so the second movie.
So it was the second movie, and the reason why is because a buddy of mine that I worked with, Mike Lynch, shout out, he's Boston Fire.
Mike Lynch.
We worked together. We did security at the mall, and he used to come up with the different quotes from Mallrats. You know, Snoochie Boochie, Snoogans. And I'm like, what the hell? What the fuck are you talking about? Bong. And I'm like,
having a stroke,
what are you talking about? He was like, dude, Mallrats. I was like, I have no idea. He goes, you need to watch this movie. So he lived in Charlestown. We saw it. I watched Mallrats. I was like, this is a fucking great movie.
Yeah.
He was like, if you think this is great, you need to see his first one. I was like, well, what the hell is his first one? He goes, I have it. It's called Clerks. And I was like, what the fuck is this about? I work in retail.
Yeah.
I was like, what? And so that's how I saw Clerks, and that was, again, and then that just started for me. And then I was like,
and
oh my God.
That's kind of how it happened.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my God, there's more movies?
Yeah.
So, 94.
94.
Want to talk about budget?
Yeah.
You have a number? I have a number.
What's the number? Give us the number.
The number is ready?
Yes.
$27,575. And that was the budget that he had for Clerks.
And the worldwide gross so far is at over 3 million.
It's almost 4 million.
Yeah.
Yep, I got that number, yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty good.
That's not a bad little turnaround.
No.
On one movie.
No. And where did he come up with that budget? Do you remember?
That's basically all he had. He sold comics.
He sold his collection and maxed out all credit cards.
Maxed out all his credit cards. He got rid of a massive amount of his collection of comic book collection. That's just kind of what he had. Yeah, like Hot Toys.
Shut it.
Did we just have this conversation?
No, it wasn't his Hot Toys. Those weren't around at that point.
No, well, yeah, but it was...
His statues, his Sandman statue, he said that's like the one item he'd love to get back.
Yep.
But he wants his actual one that he had, not like just another version of it. But yeah, he sold out his Hot, which is... So I've seen him on so many things and obviously interviews and his podcasts and when he was on Comic Book Man, which was his show on AMC.
Yep, I remember watching that.
I love that show. I was so pissed when he came off the air, but I understood why. But, he's talked about it before so many times, as he does. He rambles for very long periods of time when he talks. If you've ever seen any of his interviews or any of his Q&A or something like that, he just talks about, just goes on and on and on.
Well, don't ask the man a question if you don't want a long answer.
Fucking one question. He never answers the actual question. It's just a story. Well, I was born in Jersey and then all this bunch of shit happened and then I made a movie and then it just goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
So, he talks about how it worked and how he had to do it and everything like the renting the steam back tables and all the different things that had to go into making an independent film back in the 90s, which is so vastly different than today.
Well, I feel that making a quote-unquote indie movie now is like trendy.
It is.
It's like you purposely try to do it with like a shoestring budget when in the 90s is you're doing it because that's what you have. Like,
that's all you had. But nowadays, it's like, all the technology you need is in your pocket. It's an iPhone.
Yep.
It's you know what I mean? It's all democratized. It's so easy. Software has made it very easy to edit and to produce and to, put the music to it and edit the sound. And, where they needed all this amount of equipment to make happen, and do this shit, which was expensive and hard to come by. And now it's just like everybody has an iPhone in their pocket.
Yeah.
And can shoot at 4K resolution. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's actually what he was saying. I remember reading it that most of the budget was for the rental of the equipment.
Yeah.
Because he worked at the store.
Yep.
They shot after hours.
Yep.
everybody was kind of just there.
Yeah, it was kind of like newbies, and like nobody was a star per se.
So nobody knew who anybody was.
Yeah, so it wasn't necessarily paying big star budgets or anything like that.
Yeah, I probably half of them probably did for like a fucking pack of ding dongs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So let's talk about the cast a little bit.
Let's go. Jason Mewes. I just want to start with him.
So why do you want to start with Jason Mewes?
Just because he's the fucking man. I've liked him in all his movies. Jason Mewes, and I follow him on. I follow the both of them on Instagram, but the combination of the both of them.
Yeah.
All right. They, Jay and Silent Bob are a great cast combo. I absolutely fucking love them.
Yeah.
I love that the whole fact, like throughout the whole movie, Jason Mewes just shits on Silent Bob the whole time, right? But it's part of their friendship. It's part of the, I'm gonna fuck with you the whole time we're always together.
The entire movie
doesn't stop talking, which is crazy because he was super shy.
Yeah.
And that was another thing. I had read some of the deep dives I did. But it was always like everything that came out of his. When you're watching a movie, it's scripted. Mm-hmm. I feel that with Jason Mewes, everything that he says is fucking ad-libbed.
Yeah,
like,
I don't, but like it seems like, I'm sure a lot of it was like, it's kind of one of those like, all right, let's let him kind of run this.
Kind of run with it, right? And that's why I really like. I like that character. I like the character of Jay. Yeah. So I think he
tells that
there.
story. There's one of those, I don't know if it was a comic book man or something like that. He tells the story the first time he met Jason Mewes in real life, and they were at the local rec center, and they're just kind of hanging out, and they're just sitting there, and like there's the games and stuff like that, and this idiot comes running, who's a lot younger than them. Yeah. They're not nearly the same age, but he just comes in like bombing into the room, and basically filleting everything in the room you could possibly fillet, and then he gets to the fucking asteroid machine, and it's just a ball with like the buttons. There's no joystick, so he doesn't know what the fuck to do with it. So he just goes to the buttons. He's like at the buttons, and he's like he finds a way to do it. And like we're gonna fucking hang out with this guy. This guy's a fucking lunatic. We have to hang out with this guy. You know what I mean? That was kind of like where it started.
That's awesome.
And then they used to him and Walter Flanagan, who was in the movie as well. So it's his classic beginner guy. All of his friends are in the movie.
His friends, yeah.
He's like they would start taking Jay on shit trips and stuff like that, and Walt's like, I'm not fucking taking this guy, because they go across state lines to go to comic book stores and try to find comic books and the Marvel cards and all kinds of shit. Like, I'm not fucking being responsible taking this kid across state lines.
Yeah, right. I don't blame him. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't know.
Yeah. So it was crazy. But so they've obviously had a very storied life together and career.
Yeah.
He calls Jay his work wife.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Again, going not just from Clerks, but from Clerks on. I mean, I think Jay was at his the peak in Mars, because again, that was the first thing I saw him in.
I mean, after that, he did have a lot of trouble, in his personal life.
He did.
Luckily, he's recovered. He was in recovery, and he's been recovered for a long time now.
Surround yourself with good people, and and you get yourself out of it.
Yeah, he did. He's married now with a couple of kids now.
Yep.
God bless him. So, which is great to see.
But just he's awesome. I fucking love him.
Yeah. He's a great character. He's a great character. But he plays a very similar character, not even just in Kevin's movies. He's been in other stuff as well. But he's had a bigger career than just that. But him from Kevin's movies, really. But the character is obviously it's been around for so long.
Yeah.
And and that's one thing. When Kevin sold the rights to the Clerks movies, he doesn't own Clerks anymore. They own the Miramax, or whoever owns Miramax now. They own the rights to Clerks, but he still owns the rights to Jay and Silent Bob. He owns the rights to those characters.
Okay.
Which is why he could do Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Yep.
Which is out of the Clerks, realm, basically.
Yep.
He could do that because he retained the rights to them.
Smart man.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
But even though he wanted to do other Clerks stuff, and they're like, oh no, they finally let him do a Clerks 3. Just got released. But I haven't actually ever had a chance to see that one yet. Have you?
I don't. No. I want to. No, I didn't.
I will see it. I will see it. I just haven't had a chance. It's just we've been so busy. But because I've seen pretty much everything else, including Reboot, and which was okay. It was all right. It was a little tough sit some of the times.
Reboot was a little tough. I'm not gonna lie.
But the first one was it was. I mean, I think the Clerks was kind of lightning in a bottle to a certain degree, because it was the indie film. It was the only one in black and white.
Why was it in black and white?
I think it was a cost reason, wasn't it?
100% a cost reason.
Like trying to produce it in color was beyond his $27,000.
It costs more money to do it. This is one of the reasons. It costs more money to do a color film than it does for black and white. That was one. And another reason was because they had so much different lighting.
Yeah.
That in order, if that was color, the editing and everything that would cost to try to figure out the balance. They said, fuck it, everything's in black and white. It's going to be so much cheaper.
Yeah, and it just, honestly, it adds that
kind of
flair
adds
to the movie.
right?
Yeah, it really does.
I mean, you get that indie
it looks more
vibe.
documentary style, indie style, you know what I mean, to it, even though it's not really meant to be a documentary, obviously.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. It's you get that indie feeling right out the gate.
Yeah.
I remember watching it going.
But it kind of looks a little documentary, not just because the color, the black and white, but the note kind of style. When they talk about where they are, what they're doing, the lettering comes up.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like they're going through their notes of the day. This is what happened now, and here's where we are at this point. They're just running through the events of the day, which is pretty cool. So I like that about it. So basically the two main characters, Randall and Dante, were based off of Kevin and Brian Johnson, who was was one of his best friends.
Yes.
And they really worked there. They worked at the retail and the RST video. Yep. They worked there, so they were basically those characters, and they did basically that same shit, right? Brian would shut down the fucking video store and go hang out with Kevin at the convenience store. They would go up on the roof and play hockey, and they would just fuck around all day and do all this shit together. Obviously the rest of the story is made up, but and have an old guy dying in the back room after jerking off, but.
He had a heart attack. I mean, he had the good magazine in the back.
You got good ones back there,
No, the ones back there.
Good Lord, that's a rough sit.
So, yeah. So let's talk about just the movie itself, right? So you get that indie feeling right out the gate. Yep. I mean, at least I did, right?
Oh yeah.
And it starts off with Dante getting the call, and he's like, "What the fuck? I just closed the store. Now I got to go back." And you could feel it, right?
Yeah.
If you've worked retail, and you watch this movie, and you dread that call. I've gotten it a couple times. You
absolutely.
Just closed the night before. You didn't get home till 11:30 midnight. You're dead tired.
I've done it older than that, higher than that, yeah.
Right, but then you get that.
My job became a Soundworks. We had to be midnight, and then some days I had to be back on the 8 a.m. shift.
Yeah, so you close. You do the closing shift. You do opening.
You get home till around 1, and to be there at 8 a.m. to open. Fuck you.
And then you get that call.
Because I was the newbie.
Yeah, well, that's what happens, But then he gets that call, and you can hear it in his voice. He's like, "Are you sure you're going to show up?
Yeah.
I just closed. Are you sure?" So I remember the first time I watched that again. I had the retail. I'd already worked at the mall a couple times at different stores, so I had retail experience. And
which mall?
The Galleria.
Oh, yeah, the Galleria.
I worked at 6 different stores in that mall, man. Yeah, I bounced around, and then I did security at the mall as well. So, so when I saw this, I knew that feeling. I was like, fuck, I remember getting that call a couple times.
Yeah.
And, when he gets there and fucking, he goes to unlock it, and there's the gum inside the locks. And I'm like, that's gotta suck.
Yeah.
So then he's got
no bolt cutters anywhere around? Nothing?
No, I guess not, right?
You run to a fucking hardware store, get a pair of, you can take some cash out of the Reggie and get some fucking bolt cutters.
He uses the change to go get the newspapers.
Yeah,
that was pretty. That was pretty.
Maybe you take a couple of bucks out and go to the local hardware store and get a bolt cutter.
We need
remove the lock.
But he does the sign, right?
Yeah.
I assure you, we are
the fucking
open.
shoe polish side.
Shoe polish, and that's another thing too. A lot of the things that they did were very, very deliberate, right? Because it carries throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
Right. I assure you, we are open.
Yeah.
That carries through the movie.
Yeah.
Hit the fact that he did it with shoe polish throughout the whole movie.
Yeah. You smell shoe polish?
You smell shoe polish. You smell so you see that.
I'm not even supposed to be here today.
I'm not even supposed to be here
Which
today.
travels through a lot of the movies.
Oh, yeah.
They still bring it back up, yeah.
When he finds the gum and he's just like, savages.
Yeah.
So then he's talking to Randall about it, and Randall's like, what the hell? And he's like, the kids, they stuck gum in the lockers. He looks savages.
Fucking savages.
So it's like, it's things like that really made this movie hit for me, because there was all these these certain things that just carried on throughout the whole movie. Randall shot in the video. So just come on, shoot the shit.
So one thing you got to say for Kevin Smith, right? Whether you like his directing or not, because he was never really a director, even though he's a director. you know, and he's not, and he'll say it himself, he's not the best director. He doesn't know his camera lenses. He's never really studied that kind of shit. Like, that really wasn't his main goal. He's a writer. He loves to write. He's a great writer. And he is. He's a really good writer. He can write the shit out of a dialogue scene. He's great with two people fucking talking to each other. He's not an action writer. He's not an action movie guy. He did that buddy cop movie with Bruce Willis and Tracy Morgan.
Oh, really?
That was his. He directed that movie. He fucking hated Bruce Willis after that. He had a major rant about Bruce Willis after that. They hated each other because of that movie.
Really?
Like, they've passed it up. Like, they've gotten over it since then, but it took him years.
Wow.
He fucking, and he's gone on about it. It was one of his stand-up specials that he did. He talked about what an awful, awful, awful time he had with Bruce Willis on that movie. And I think Bruce Willis is just kind of like, he's Bruce Willis. And at that point, he was really fucking Bruce Willis. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was just kind of like, who is this fucking chump who doesn't know this industry, like, doesn't know fucking what lens to use. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And he's directing this movie, and he's trying to direct me.
Yeah.
So, do you know what I mean? Like, and he's so Bruce Willis was like, I know it's a wicked side note, but he's like, he's a line, and he keeps repeating it at different points of the movie that weren't necessarily in the script. And Kevin's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why do you keep doing that? He's like, listen, I got this. Like, you're going to edit this later. And at some point, I'm doing this so you can make edits, and this will fit in naturally if you do this. You can fucking chop it and put this in. It'll make sense when you do it. Trust me, I've been doing this a long fucking time. Like, you're just repeating this line. I forget what the hell it was.
Right.
But it made sense that we would just kind of like give him this line, so later in the editing room, he could chop it in, and it would actually make sense and make it more sense than the script was making. If he needed to cut scenes around and move shit around, it's like, yeah, it's there. Because he fucking gave me this line. But Kevin didn't know what the hell he was doing. So he had a lot of that. He's kind of bumped heads with Bruce Willis a lot during the making of that movie.
The infamous, I know more than you and I know better because I've been doing this a lot longer.
You've been doing this since you were scratching your daddy's pants.
Right,
He was on moonlighting. He was like,
I mean,
but he was being a dick about it.
Yeah.
But he just got tired of like dealing with it. This chump who didn't know what he was doing. But, you know, but Kevin said, he's like, I'm not an action director. He's like, I would never want to direct a Marvel movie or direct a Star Wars movie. Fucking, it's like, I'm the last person you want to get directed at. If you got Tony and Captain America talking for 2 hours, I'll direct the fuck out of that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but some action. She's like, no, that's not me. That's not what I do. So.
Well, and that's one thing that he carries out throughout all his movies. Really, it's like, you know, the back and forth between everybody is always so damn good, and that's one thing I really love that about this movie. It's the back and forth between Randall and Dante.
Yeah,
it's
Star Wars. You know, talking about Star Wars. Yeah, the Death Star scene.
The workers and the union workers, the first, you know, the people that died in the first one you feel bad for, but the second people you can't feel bad because they knew what they were doing. They were working for the bad guys. They knew what they were doing.
They knew what they were doing.
So, like, yeah, that whole, and that's like, and that's like, that's literally chewing up time and chewing up the screen.
To find out in Andor if they were just hostages. They were
just prisoners.
They were prisoners building the Death Star.
That's how that played out.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. What if people didn't watch Andor yet?
Not my fucking problem. It's like a 1 year moratorium. Fuck off. All the lines been out 6 months.
I don't know.
My problem.
I think you just piss people off now.
Me?
Maybe.
That's something new.
That's usually me. But like, again, like you see like the banter between like all the players, like regardless of who's on screen, when they're on screen, whether it's Dante and Randall, whether it's Dante and what's her name, his girlfriend there.
Yeah.
That whole thing when they're asking about how many people they've been with.
Yes.
Right, and he's like...
36, was it 36 is the number?
36 was the number. Including me, 37. It's like, how many dicks did you suck?
Yes.
She goes, including you?
No.
Including me, 37.
So
Veronica, that's her name. Yeah. He goes, you sucked 37 dicks? And then...
Caitlin Bree was the one who was previous.
Yeah.
She died, you know.
Did she really?
Yeah, Lisa Spoonhour. Yeah, she passed away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, very tragic. She was only 44. She passed away in 2017.
Wow.
Yeah. She it was a prescription drug overdose. Very tough. Very sad. Yeah, I remember when that happened. It was very, very sad.
Wow. Talk about a downer.
I'm sorry.
Thanks, buddy.
Hey, welcome back, everybody.
Hey, here we are.
Sorry about that. Yeah, you know
me. So again,
you know me. I'm Italian. We've always played. Guess who died? That's my grandma. That was my grandma's favorite game. My grandma's favorite game. Guess who died? Guess who died? Oh fuck, grandma. All right. Who was this?
Your friend, my friend.
That's right.
What's the age range?
Guess who died?
Whose neighborhood first?
Exactly.
But yeah, so you have this back and forth between all the characters, right? You know, and that for me is what makes this movie that much better. Yeah. Right, because there's not a lot going on.
No, it's a day in the life of a convenience store worker. I mean, they do a couple of things, right? They go to the funeral, they play hockey. I mean, there isn't a shit ton going on. No. They don't go that many places. They don't do that much stuff. Yeah. But, just, the people coming in, the interactions with the customers, right? Walter Flanagan, he's the guy checking all the eggs out and the milk. Yeah. He's the egg and the milk guy. He's a...
No. He's the egg guy, not the milk guy, not the milk lady.
Oh, sorry, the milk lady. He's the egg guy.
Who's the milk lady?
Wasn't that his mother?
That's his mother.
Yeah, it's Kevin Smith's real mother.
It's Kevin Smith's real mother, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, Mom, I got a pod for you. I need you in here.
Hey, you're checking the milk.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure she loved.
Of course.
Who was not in the movie, though, is Brian Johnson. I don't know why he didn't put him in this movie. He's in other movies.
Yeah, I don't...
Like, Walter's in the movie, but Brian Johnson's not in the movie. Scott Mosier's in the movie.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about Scott, too. So Scott is basically, he was basically the producer.
Yes.
So he met Scott during his time in film school, which I don't think he completed, up in Canada. And that's how they met. And they became, like, really, really good friends, and they started, like, producing movies together.
I'm going to go to film school, not finish, sell all my stuff. I'm going to create a movie that for $27,000. I'm only going to make $4 million out of it. Like, obviously, $27,000 to $4 million is a huge jump. But in today's standards, as far as like movie goes, like $4 million, that's it. I mean, shit, wasn't fucking, what was Superman 4's budget? Wasn't it like $8 million?
Trying to have a memory. What do you got in your mind?
16, 12 million, something like that.
My brain's shot. You think I would remember? Once we finish, I do a dump.
Yeah,
I do a brain dump once we finish talking about it. I'm out. But I mean it's a study, right? And people have studied this movie. People study this movie in colleges.
That blows my mind because
it's a film course study movie because it's an amazing feat of what somebody can do when they put their mind to it, and just like all the stuff that we were talking about, like things that he did with it, the writing aspect, the producing, and how he made it all happen with just sheer passion and friends, and it was a passion project he wanted to do.
Yeah.
I've known people, like I have friends who did movies, who did this basically with the same reason. You know what I mean? They saw what he did, and.
But here's the problem though, right? And I was thinking about this because you always hear about this, like, oh, but look what he did, look what he did, look what he did. You know who else tried to do the same fucking thing?
A lot of people.
Fucking The Hands of Manos, right? Was it that it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That movie is fucking horrible.
It's totally one of the worst movies ever made.
It's one of the worst movies ever made.
Hands of Manos, The Hands of Fate.
That's it, Manos, The Hand of Fate. Fucking horrible movie. Mm-hmm. But that was the same idea.
Right, The Room.
Right, but, so I'm just going to use the Mano, right? That whole thing was a guy being told that he couldn't do it. He's like, fucking watch me. He puts his daughter in it. He puts his friends in it. It's the same fucking thing.
Hold my beer.
But that was a horrible movie.
Yeah, well, he was already drunk at the time.
Yeah. So it's like, I can respect the fact that Kevin Smith did it and how he did it. Yeah. But that ain't for everybody.
No.
So it's almost like.
You do have to have a modicum of talent.
Right, day, like you have to have some sort of fucking talent.
I really want to do this, but
I mean, shit. There's a lot of things I want to do that I'm like, you know what?
Like brain surgery. Hey, let me hold my beer. I'm gonna go try that.
That may not be a thing, right? Hold my beer. I'm gonna go.
Might not be the smartest thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, absolutely.
So it's almost like a false pretense in a way, because it's like people are like, oh well, he did it, so that means I can do it. Like, no, that's not what that fucking means. No. What it means, it can be done if it's done properly, obviously, right?
And you have talent.
And you have talent. Like, you have to have talent. And Kevin Smith is just such, like, his vision.
He's a great writer.
He's a great writer. His vision of how he wants to have things done. Yeah. That's what nailed it. Yeah. Like, can you, and I don't want to be like, oh, well, imagine if you had a budget. No, I don't know if
I don't know if this movie would have been the same. I mean, right. Because let's face it, Clerks 2 and 3.
You got the budget.
Well, you had a much bigger budget, and they were not the same. 2 did not do as well as
I don't think so.
I don't think 3 did either.
I think Going to the Well, and I've said not just with Clerks, but I feel that with a lot of movies that do this, they come up with a movie, and then the sequel's like fucking 20 years later.
Yeah.
15 years later, and they try going back to the well, and it just doesn't work, because what works for the first one doesn't always work for the second one. But for this one, it was so sporadic. It felt very spontaneous and sporadic, right? This whole movie. The second movie, it feels more scripted. There's more story. There's more things involved. So it doesn't capture.
Bigger budget. It's in color now. It's colorized it.
Right, but it doesn't. For me, it doesn't. It doesn't hold the same weight as.
There was a certain magic to this movie.
Right.
Not only was there a certain magic, like anything that hit as big as Clerks did, it is the magic, it is the writing, it is but it's also the timing. Mm-hmm. Timing is a huge thing.
Huge.
94, what was happening culturally, you know what I mean? Like, this felt like a grunge movie, and the grunge music
that was the heart.
Huge.
That was the heart.
94,
right? That was like the heart. I mean,
this was a down and dirty, raw, low budget, black and white. When you think of grunge, that's what you think of.
Yeah, no, this was...
Picture in your mind what colors come to your mind when you think of grunge music.
Fucking plaid.
Plaid. What color plaid? Me? Black, white, and gray. You think of like graffiti on the walls. You see like even the album artwork is a lot of muted gray, black, white, spray paint, fucking, you know what I mean, dripping, fucking black and white spray paint. Well, you know what I mean? That's me. And coming from an art background, that's what I see in my brain. I see a lot of shit. You know me. I think in cartoons. Like, I fucking see things visually versus like within words or something like that. Like, I see shit visually.
You see colors or you like,
I see things fucking wicked visually. Like, we're playing around the dojo and I see someone like, get hit. Like, my brain sees that person going through the wall like a fucking cartoon character, like Wile E. Coyote in the fucking hole of a kid in the wall. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh shit.
There's a couple people I actually want to do that with.
Right. Like, I was watching Scream 6, and I was talking about this last night to you, and the guy gets hit with a fucking, skillet. Yeah. And he kind of shakes it off. My head, that skillet was going to come back with a shape of his head.
With the imprint.
Because he just shook it off. Like, he just walked away. Like, oh, that sucks. And he kind of stumbled a little bit and walked. No way. No. You get hit that hard with a fucking skillet, you're out for a little while. You might not kill you, but it's going to be out for a little bit.
Definitely going to be
You're going to go down. You're definitely going to go down for a minute or so. Like, she clocked him cold right in the head. And then he got hit with a few other things. Still kind of just got up and shook it off.
Yeah.
And what sucked even more was, and I'm not going to spoil it if you haven't seen it, but because that's a relatively new movie, who it was at the end was one of the things like, you're not the same size. It's the person who just got fucking hit, and I see you're not the same fucking person.
But, well, yeah, you were saying that.
There's two people that,
Scooby-Doo.
I'll give you that, I'll give you the spoiler. There's two people that play Ghostface that are, the ones doing it.
In the original there was two people.
Right. But neither one of these people could have taken a hit.
Match the size, match size,
or could have fucking taken a hit from a skillet like that.
See, that's
okay, well, even if they were jacked up on something, which they weren't, it was like, come on.
Yeah, that's...
Like, you and I, we're fighters, we know.
Yeah, I mean,
you get hit like that, you're going down.
It's going to hurt
from a fucking cast iron, and a heavy one, too. That was a thick-ass cast iron skillet. Clocked a kid right in the head.
Yeah, that's
like, come on. You got to find something. You got to give me something better than that. That would have been, you know what I mean? I was watching Speed today because I was listening to it about it on a podcast.
Oh, God.
I know. They were on the Office Ladies podcast.
Okay.
For some reason, they reviewed Speed. I don't know. Other than the fact that...
Here I am talking shit, but we did Mario Brothers, so... Well, the original.
Other than the fact that one of the ladies on the bus plays a character on a single episode of one of the most popular episodes of The Office. It was the dinner party episode.
Okay.
And she played Dwight's nanny/date.
Okay.
So she was the lady that gets blown off the bus. So she's like, at the last minute, she's like, I'm getting off this bus. And that's when the one that gets blown under the bus. It's her.
So that's how they got to speak.
Yeah, and they interviewed her like a separate pod. They interviewed her too. So, so then for some reason they did Speed. Anyway, but same thing. It's kind of like, oh, you're trained, you got a gun. It's like, oh, you fucking just shoot him.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I can't stand it. I can't stand it. I hate that. Yeah. I hate that. Same thing with Scream. Like, you fucking bust through the wall. Gail Weathers got the gun pointed right at the head. Doesn't shoot him. Fuck, come on.
Yeah.
Shoot him in the fucking head.
Shoot him in the head.
But anyway, I digest.
You digest. But again, so that's like the biggest difference when
36 times.
Including me?
So, funny tidbit. Do you know who Ming Chen is? So Ming Chen was on Comic Book Men. When they used to
Yes.
So Ming Chen was not involved with them at this time, but after this movie, and they started doing their View Askew Universe.
Right. Well, this was the first View Askew because it comes out. Yeah. Right?
So they started building the View Askew Universe, and they built their website, and he helped them with all that. Oh. He eventually got involved with it at some point and helped them do the website and take care of like the message boards and everything like that, and then helped them with their like website design and all kinds of stuff. And then eventually he was on Comic Book Man.
Gotcha.
Whatever. So if you look at his Instagram, it's Ming Chen 36, and that's why.
Oh, that's hilarious!
It's the only reason it's Ming Chen 36, not because there's 35 other Ming Chens. It's Ming Chen 36 on purpose because of Clerks.
Because of Clerks. See, that's pretty good. So I mean, he sets up his email, God knows when.
Yeah.
And then he's a part of it, and it's like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
So that's the thing about, you know, when to go back to saying how Clerks is a staple. Is a movie that colleges that they go off of, you know. And again, it's a great underdog story. It really truly is. But again, just because you got fucking 28G don't mean that you can go make a fucking movie.
No, but I think this is one of those movies, like as you said, like it is a staple, and I think it's one of those movies that like. I don't really say this very often, but it's like something a movie like you should watch at least once. It doesn't have to be your best favorite movie. It's not something you have to like put in your rotation all the time. Mm-hmm. But I think it's like it's one of those disservices if you don't at least watch it one time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of movies like that. You know what I mean? Yep. I think so. I think even like a movie like Schindler's List.
No.
Like, you know what I mean? And I know that's a weird poll, but I was just talking about it. It's a weird flex. But I was just talking and hearing about it, then talking about it recently with someone. You know what I mean? There's movies like that. Rocky, the original Rocky. And I'm not just talking about Oscar-rated movies, but like they're just certain staples.
Yeah, there's certain movies.
A Princess Bride, which is obviously not an Oscar-rated movie.
Right.
But you know what I mean? But
you got to watch it at least once.
It's a cultural phenomenon. Like, it's in there. Yeah. And you hear somebody say, I've never watched that movie. And you want to slap them. You're like, what are you talking about? Yeah. How did you get to this age and never, you know what I mean? Never watched The Princess Bride.
I know people, no shit, that haven't seen The Godfather.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I don't understand. Again, how the fuck do you get to this day and age and you haven't seen The Godfather? What? Come on.
Yeah,
ridiculous. But yeah, you're right though. This is definitely a movie that you have to watch.
If you're especially if you're somebody who likes to watch movies, maybe you're not a movie person. I don't really care to watch movies. Okay, so maybe you haven't seen The Godfather. You haven't gone back and watched a crime movie like that because you don't really care about people getting killed and that kind of stuff and the mafia. And okay, I get you. Even though it's an amazing fucking movie, it's a cinema, tour de force movie. Yeah, it really is. But I get it. But if you like movies and you enjoy the cinema and you enjoy theater, it's something you should watch. Yeah. And I feel like Clerks is not The Godfather.
No.
Clearly.
No.
I'm not trying to put it up with The Godfather.
No, but
I feel like it's one of those movies like it's a different type of movie.
Yep.
But it's something that should be watched
definitely a movie
at least once.
You got it. I always wanted watching this again when I forgot what Dante was doing. Where the hell? I don't remember where Dante went. But the cat shits in the litter box in the counter while there's a customer standing there. And I watch it every time. I'm like, did that cat really just shit there? Just decide, you know what? This is my litter box. I'm going to shit. This is the time of shit.
It's a cat.
I mean, I get that, but
cats do what they want when they want. Right, you're kitchen help at that point. You're just help to cat.
But they got that on film. And Kevin Smith was like, yeah, this is a good part. And that's another thing, too. There was a lot of parts that were just...
B-roll, and he's like,
almost random, but they weren't.
Yeah.
And they kind of fit, but then you're like, I mean, again, the fucking, there was, I remember Dante was walking, he had it in his hand and put it on the counter, and I don't remember where he went. Oh, you know what? I think what it was is he went to go make the call, maybe?
Yeah.
To find out if there was a misprint in the newspaper.
Right, because of Caitlin Breeze.
Because of Caitlin Breeze. So maybe that's what it was when he walks away. Thing, And then the guys stay at the counter, waiting to pay for something, and then the cat just comes and takes a shit.
The Asian design major.
The Asian design major, yeah.
So that was just a reoccurring thing that kept coming through.
Yeah, again, that's another one of the things, and throughout the whole movie, it's like you see these things or you hear these things, and it keeps going back to it, and you're like,
the Asian design major.
The Asian design major. What? Was there any big parts that you kind of go back to, or as you were watching, you're like, oh, I can't wait for this part?
Yeah, I definitely like again, we talked about the Death Star stuff. I like that. I like the salsa shark part, which is the salsa shark. I think it's hysterical. We got the Dorito,
the tortilla chip,
just going through. So certain little moments like that. It's just like little moments. Like Randall's still my favorite character throughout the movie. You know, I love
that. Was supposed to be played by Kevin Smith.
I know.
Yep.
I know, and I'm glad it wasn't.
I am too.
Yeah,
actually.
I mean, not that I don't like Kevin Smith, but I think he crushed Silent Bob.
Well, so I think
that Jeff Anderson.
He smashes it.
He does.
But when I read that,
he didn't want to come back for the third one. They did a lot of work. There was a lot of like stroking to get him back for the third one.
Because you're like, I don't know if I want to do this again. The second one didn't do too well.
He got him back though. He got him back.
Yeah.
A lot of promises.
What I liked about after I read that, I was glad, because if we saw Kevin Smith speak in this one, I don't want to see him as Silent Bob for the rest.
Right.
What makes it so good is he's quiet throughout the whole thing, and he has that one fucking line. Like, especially at the end, and it's like mind blown, right?
Yeah.
And he created the Silent Bob character, and I love, again, Silent Bob and Jay. They created these characters, and they carry these characters the same way. They play the same way throughout all the movies, and I fucking love it. Because
the coat was his actual coat. Like, it was the coat he used to wear.
Yeah, yep.
I fucking remember
his armor.
One interview, one time he was talking about, somebody's just like, they saw the coat, they're like, ew, do you wear like all the costumes from your movies? He's like, my fucking coat.
This is my coat, dude. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, I saw that Jason Mewes. So if you watch Jay throughout the whole movie, he's always got like a different outfit on, and it's only one day.
Yeah.
But every time you see him, he always has like a different outfit on. One of the reasons why is because the day one of shooting, he had his girlfriend's jacket on, but he couldn't keep borrowing her jacket because it was her fucking jacket.
Yeah.
So you see him like in different outfits, and I went back to read. I was like, oh my god, that's right. As I'm watching, I'm like, yeah, he's got a different fucking outfit on throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
And again, it's fucking one
It
day.
takes place in one day. Yeah.
One of my favorite parts was Olaf.
Oh, yeah.
Olaf like girl? Yeah. Olaf like metal? Yeah. Sing Olaf. Oh, he's gonna be singing. Yeah, sing Olaf. Would you like making fuck berserker? Fucking when I first saw that, I says, wait a minute. I gotta watch. I hit rewind because this was on tape. It was on VHS.
Yep.
I hit rewind and I played that shit again.
Yeah,
and
my brother wore the shit out of this tape.
Dying. And after this movie, you see they have I can't remember what movie it was, but somebody had a Berserker t-shirt on, and it was Olaf singing. I was like, that's fucking cool. And again, because it's all part of the same universe, you see the little plugs from every movie as it goes on.
Yeah,
I really like that a lot. Yeah.
I do appreciate that. Like, he's good about that. He'll throw little Easter eggs in from from prior movies, and things like that. I think it's fun. It creates the universe, and I think that's a good way to do it. You know what I mean?
Right, but that's the perfect example of fan service. Like that's the kind of fan service I really like.
Yeah,
it's the subtle little hints. If you've watched all this guy's other movies, you're going to see it, and I fucking love that.
It's not in your face.
Right, doing fan service is just a fan service.
On it to make a movie.
Right. And I mean, we just kind of talked about that with Mandalorian.
Yeah. You still salty about that?
A little. I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm still a little salty about that.
That's okay. I understand.
Touched me in a bad spot.
It did. We'll get the doll out.
But I'm not the only one, so I'm okay with that. Like, there's a lot of people that are like, "Fuck you."
Yeah, we notice it more and more online. Yeah.
And it's whatever.
So, Clerks, made on shoestring.
Yeah.
Sold to Miramax.
Yes.
To the Weinsteins.
Okay.
Before they were, the Weinstein company, they owned.
Yeah, they were such conglomerates, man. The fucking the brothers were just
crazy shit.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And then continue. Then again, Mallrats and Chasing Amy, and on from there. Like, I don't know. I once it got to Chasing Amy, it kind of started to go, again, Dogma was a hit for me.
Yeah, I like Dogma a lot. Did they do fucking like something fucking movie something?
movies.
Yeah, because that was the. This is great for podcasts.
No, it's okay. It's all right. You looking at his directorial stuff?
Yeah. I thought he did a fucking, maybe it was like a cartoon or something, because that's their version of like the McDonald's, whatever. That's the fast food joint that they always go to.
Yeah, that's They did pop-ups. Did you know that?
Okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
They did like pop-ups.
Yeah, pop-ups.
Okay, maybe shops around the country.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of then. All right, that makes sense. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, he did Mallrats, then Chasing Amy, then Dogma came out in '99. Then came Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back,
which I didn't mind.
No, I
okay
enjoyed that
right?
one. I enjoyed that one. Yeah,
it was, I mean, you got Mark Hamill in it.
Yeah.
So it's like...
Yeah. I mean, then he had Jersey Girl. That wasn't a huge hit. Clerks 2. You know, some of the more popular stuff. Reaper, I didn't know he did. Zack and Miri Make a Porno.
That's him?
That was... So Cop Out was the one I was talking about with Bruce Willis.
Yeah. Oh, no, I remember that one.
Yeah, he did Zack and Miri Make a Porno. And with Seth Rogen.
Yep.
And that was like a huge disappointment for people. And it wasn't per se his fault. Most people attribute that one to the marketing. They didn't know what the fuck to do with it because they couldn't really advertise for what it was.
They changed the name of it.
Yeah.
They changed it from Zack and Miri Make a Porn to Zack and Miri Make a Movie.
Right. Yeah. So, like, because you can't really advertise that on, you know.
Yeah, how do you do that?
Hey, guess what we're doing? Come out and see Zack and Miri Make a Porno. Bring the kids. Lots of fun. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. That suffered from really shitty advertising. And so, like, by the time it got out to theaters, nobody knew what the hell that was about.
But at the same time, though, they should have changed the fucking name of it. Make it, I don't know. You knowing that you're gonna title this movie that, like, you know you're gonna get fucking backlash. You know it's not gonna get well advertisement.
Yeah.
Like, you know that shit. Part of people going to see your movie is your, is your trailers.
Yeah.
Okay, you come up with a good name. You're like, oh shit, The Pope's Exorcist. Fuck yeah, I want to go watch that. Why?
Yeah.
I don't know, but a Pope's getting exorcist. He's possessed with some shit. We got to go watch this movie.
Yeah.
I didn't even watch the preview, but just that name alone is going to drive me to it. Now, granted, Zack and Miri Make a Porno. You're like, oh shit, because Boogie Nights worked.
Yep.
Right.
But Boogie Nights. The word porno is not in the title.
So that's what I'm saying, though.
You still knew what the fuck it was about.
You could have. You
damn well knew what it's about.
But they could have changed the name. Yeah. I mean, Boogie Nights is all about the porno industry. They changed the name and it worked. This.
Like in Dogma, which, the hard part with Kevin Smith is his budgets. And after Clerks, his budget grosses got really tight. So like Dogma was estimated around 10 million, but only made like 31 million. It's still grossed. It's still made. But it's not a huge. It's not a huge windfall. You know what I mean? Like, and that's kind of been his career. There's some that like just don't make money back, and that's why eventually he started just like producing and putting in and distributing it on his own. For a while, he was literally distributing on his own, just going and taking the movie around the country himself. Yeah, and showing it. But Dogma had a huge backlash, huge backlash. Obviously, with religious groups. The Catholic Church, and then the what are those lunatics down south? The Westboro.
You see them?
Oh,
they have their names.
Yeah, there's is the Westboro Church, I think it is. They are like just a band of fucked up psychos who just they're the ones with the signs who stand outside of every fucking thing with the God is amazing signs. They literally
wait. Hey, let's stay away from this. We don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
No, fuck them.
Because you're saying that they have signs saying that God is awesome. Now that kind of makes it look like you think that God isn't awesome.
I think God is awesome.
All right.
I think God is awesome. But when you stand out in front of and cause trouble at a fallen soldier's funeral with their family sitting right there.
Yeah, that's a little fucked up.
It's fucked up. And you're getting in the way of the people trying to mourn a fucking, a hero. No. Yeah. Or you're protesting gay rights activists or any of that kind of stuff just because it goes against your belief and you're trying to fuck up the lives of other people, and then you can go fuck yourself. And you're doing it in the name of God.
Right. Well, that's
that drives me fucking crazy.
Yeah, you know what though? And also, so that's a bag that's been getting, that's a card that gets pulled fucking for everything for years. It's, well, I'm doing it in the name of, if you do anything in the name of religion, that makes it okay, whichever world you live in, so that just opens the door for annoyance, and that's something that I choose not to really.
Yeah, you gotta check up on those people. I tell you, they're specialists.
I don't need that in my search history on my phone.
Come on,
No.
Get on them and the Scientology people. You'll have a fucking
Scientology is fun.
You'll have a fucking field day. Your brain will explode right inside your skull. Right inside your head. Westboro Baptist Church. That's them.
Okay.
Half the leader's still alive. I forget.
Well, that's all right. What I like about this movie too is not only is the
he's got 2 movies coming up. Kevin Smith in production. Do you know which ones he's got coming up?
No.
Moose Jaws, which was another one that kind of came off the podcast thing. It kind of goes along the line of Tusk. That Twilight of the Mallrats.
So
Jason Lee's back in it. Claire Forlani's back in it.
So what
Shannon Doherty's back in it. Ethan Suplee.
Fucking great.
Jay and Silent Bob back in it. Joey Lauren Adams.
No.
Jeremy London's back. Renee Humphreys.
Is it a real movie, or is it where are they now?
No, I think it's an actual movie.
All right. So we always talk about reboots and continuations and things like that, right? So this falls right into the, hey, a little too late.
Sure does.
Stop going to the fucking well.
How many decades later?
That came out in...
It was 94, like 96, 98,
something like that, right?
With Mallrats came out. It was only a couple years after.
So, yeah, let's leave that alone. Let's just leave it alone.
I know.
I like Brody.
Brody's got a grandkid. Brody's got a grandkid at the mall.
Yeah, can we just leave it alone? Fuck me, man. Stop. We always yell at people again for doing the reboots and shit like that, and this is going to the well fucking 30 years later, and it's like, hey, let's do this again.
He doesn't have to.
Why do it?
That's a great question. I asked you the same question. Why do it? He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to. He's doing Moose Jaws because that'll make $1 million. But you know what I mean? Why are we doing it then?
I don't know. I don't.
To me, somebody wants it. Somebody wants it. And he doesn't seem the type that says the studios want it.
I think he wants to do it just because he wants to do it.
I think so. I think
he just wants
I have another story to tell, and I want to tell the story. I have another one in me. I have another story about these characters I want to tell. I want to write about another story. People write another Batman novel, another Batman book because they want to write another story about Batman.
Honestly, I hope that's the reason, though. Just because he was like, I don't really care if it takes off or not. I have a story that I want to bring.
Which I have to say, hit or miss on his movies, that tends to be why he does movies.
Yeah, because
Red State was that way. Tusk was that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yoga Hosers was that way. It's like, I want to tell this story, and I don't give a fuck if people like it. He cares, people like it, but I want to tell. This is a story I want to tell, and I want to have fun fucking doing it. And he puts his friends in it. It's great. Of course you want people to like it. Of course you want to make money out of it. It's not his main, I like this and I want to tell this fucking story.
Honestly, if that's the reason, there's nothing, there's no real hidden agenda or hidden motive or anything. It's he's like, you know what, man, I maybe this was something that he was talking to, maybe Jason Lee or whatever, was like, dude, you know what do you think would have happened if Brody actually did get married? And, after he was done doing the Blunt Man and Chronic comics, what would happen with him? And, if this is just a continuation of the story, and they're doing it, honestly, just because they fucking want to, and for them it's just a fun little project, then I can get behind
100%.
that. If you're doing this for a fucking cash grab or the studio,
if you've seen his gross takes, it's usually not a cash grab.
Exactly. So, but I'm just giving you the other side. Don't put out a movie just fucking because you wanna you want to like pull on the heartstrings of people,
right?
Especially like this far off, because there's plenty of people that do that.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, I'm gonna come out with this and get all you nostalgic people that really want me to make a movie, that really want this story back. It's gonna fucking suck, but I'm gonna steal your money. Well, fuck you. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna watch it obviously because I'm gonna.
I think Clerks 3 was kind of a mixed bag of like people have been clamoring for Clerks 3 for a long time,
right?
And it's like Clerks was his, breakout, and I think he really loves that world.
Yeah,
he loves the characters in that world, and he wasn't quite finished with those characters and what their end was supposed to be.
You know what though, but I feel that especially with the Clerks franchise, because it had Big Studio behind it, I feel that they kind of push it in a direction maybe that he didn't want to.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like, I didn't see the third one because the second one really didn't grab me.
Yeah,
and the second one didn't feel like a Kevin Smith movie.
Yeah,
it was
it's
like
definitely more studio produced.
It was more studio. I mean, obviously because it's time and there's now more money involved, right? Like they have that,
sure.
But it felt to me that it was like it was a movie with just like Kevin Smith sprinkled in it. Like it had the essence of Kevin Smith, but it wasn't a Kevin Smith movie.
Sounds dirty than you mentioned, but
I know it's. You know what it felt like? A steak and cheese sub, but it wasn't real steak. It's actually tofu.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck? Like
it kind of,
it's tofu and fake cheese. You're like, it's kind of like a steak and cheese, but not really.
Yeah.
That's what Clerks 2 kind of felt like to me.
Yeah.
Like it didn't have that. It just didn't feel. I mean, Mallrats had a little bit more budget, but that felt like.
So what I'm sensing, and I feel the same way, is that like it's a sequel to the movie that existed. If Mallrats is its own thing, even though it's in the universe, it's fine. Yep. The way you filmed it, the way the movie came out, the movie produced, it's fine. It's its own thing. Mm-hmm. But if Clerks is this sort of gritty, black and white, 2 and 3 should be the same.
Should be the same
because now it makes sense. It works in the same style that the first movie was in. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. You don't just start changing it. Okay, now we have a bigger budget, bigger produced movie. It doesn't feel like the first one anymore.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like even if you look at like Star Wars, even the first episode 4, 5, and 6, second one, third one, a little bit more budget, but they still felt the same.
Felt the same.
Felt like it was in the same. Because if you go back to episodes 1, 2, and 3, they don't.
But they were supposed to be different,
though. But the 3 of them feel like they're in the same category.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's a bigger budget, the CGI, the whole thing. But they both look like they're in the same. They're produced together. As one big, long 3 movie put together.
Yes.
Trilogy.
Yep.
So this doesn't look like a trilogy anymore.
No.
It's because it's 3, especially between the first one and the second one, it's very different.
Very, very different.
Production quality, color, scope, everything.
The vision is just different.
It's very different. It's a very different type of movie. It's like seeing the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, then watching the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. Like, it's fucking Spider-Man, but it's not the same Spider-Man.
You don't get the same. It's not the same. That's just not the same feeling.
Yeah.
And you're 100% right with that. And for me, that's why
he could have easily gone back and just done another black and white for Clerks 2 and Clerks 3. Just make another story.
But you know what else too, though?
Clerks 1. You can still have a bigger budget,
right?
And you can add to it, but it's still shot in black and white. It can still be gritty. You don't have to edit on the same old technology you edited it on.
Right.
Shoot it with the same old cameras you edited on, because you can make new cameras look like that.
Yeah, but you know what too, though? It's like the first Clerks, the acting in it felt raw.
Yeah, but you can do that in the second too. You still
but you have you have the same fucking. So this is the thing. You have the same people. It's still the same writer.
You add Rosario Dawson. Okay, you add some new people, but
your stars are still your stars.
Yeah.
Right. It's still Dante and Randall. Yeah, they should have they didn't have that same. For me, it didn't feel like they had that same. That same banter wasn't there.
No, it wasn't. They definitely seemed more seasoned and older, and like we've done movies before now. We know how to do movies. We can act better.
But again.
No, they were acting. They seemed like they were acting.
Right.
In the first movie, it just seemed like two dudes
just shooting the shit.
Like
doing a podcast.
Yeah, in the second movie, they sounded like they were acting. We have a role to play.
And that's why I was
here's my role, and I'm doing this now. And it was very overacted and ridiculous.
And that's why I was saying at the beginning of this, it's Clerks 1 felt, it didn't feel like a scripted thing. It felt like you're just watching the day in the life of two guys.
Yeah, just a raw conversation.
You're a fucking fly on the wall.
Yeah.
That's what Clerks 1 was.
Yeah.
Clerks 2, I'm watching a movie.
Yeah.
like for me, there's such a difference. It's just a different feeling. Like I said, it's a steak and cheese sub made with tofu and fake cheese.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it just and that's why if I go back to watch it, I always go back to watch 1. I very rarely ever watch 2, and like I said, I haven't even seen 3 yet. I'll watch it because I do want to know what happens, even though it looks kind of like. Yeah, did you see Reboot? The Jay and Silent Bob reboot?
Oh,
one?
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So it feels kind of like that. We're like, okay, we're getting silly. We're getting overly silly where, like, Randall wants to go make a movie or whatever the fuck he's doing. Like, he's got a new purpose in life. Jumps off the fucking, hospital bed.
He wants to do Clerks.
Yeah.
It's almost like he wants to do a reboot.
It's meta.
That's what it is.
Meta thing.
Because that's what everything fucking is now, right? Everything's meta.
It's kind of like, it's not raw, just, conversational thing anymore. It's like, it's this meta movie about him. Like, you fucking done that. Like, you did that in Reboot. You did that in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Yeah.
Where they're talking about them fucking making a movie of these two dudes and you gotta go stop it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and now there's definitely a lot of fan service, right? Because he's throwing in, Ben Affleck's back in it. Like, there's a lot of people being thrown back in as a bit thing. You know what I mean? Justin Long, I think, is in there, bit part again. Just because, like, hey, he's back. Oh, she's back. Oh, he's back in it again. Okay, it's not necessary. The first movie didn't have that. And it was awesome. Second movie had a bit of that. Wasn't as great. Third movie's gonna suck because it's just got too much of that.
Yeah, and it's part 3.
It's part 3, right? Yeah, I mean,
all the part 3 suck.
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back was cool with that kind of stuff because you got your Carrie Fisher and your, George Carlin, and you have your, obviously Mark Hamill we talked about. You got your Dawson Creek, and you got your Jason. You know what I mean?
Jason Biggs, yeah.
Like, that was fucking cool, but that's kind of
the pie fucker. That's what I'm known as. See, I'm known as the pie fucker.
that shit was kind of cool because it was an off the cuff kind of, didn't take itself too seriously, slapsticky kind of movie. Idiots, are going to stop a movie about themselves.
Yeah,
that made sense.
I am the clit master.
Yeah. And you get that whole scene with the Force stealing the diamond. Oh, good lord.
Reminds me of Muppet Takes Manhattan.
Yep, that's exactly what that was. It sure was.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite. That's still my favorite Muppet movie. Trade with anybody who's got a jacuzzi.
Yeah, no,
Peoples is Peoples.
Yeah.
Is Frog gone? Yes. Hey, Jill. I'm Jill.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. No. When they were still...
Phil.
No, that's...
Muppet Take Manhattan.
Yeah, no, but where's the one that they try to steal the baseball diamond?
Oh, that's the Great Muppet Caper.
The Great Muppet, that's what I was thinking of. I'm sorry. Yeah, Peoples is Peoples, Frogs is Peoples.
That's Muppet Take Manhattan.
Yeah, that's right. That was a good movie.
That's my favorite one.
Yeah,
the Great Muppet Caper. I like that one. Not my favorite.
But that's what part with them stealing the diamond. That's what made me think of was
where they come in from the ceiling.
Yeah.
Lasers and everything.
Come steal the baseball diamond.
Yeah. So that's still a good one though. That's still but Muppets Take Manhattan have even more cameos like Gregory Hines and Michael Caine.
Everybody's in that.
Fucking everybody's in that.
That was a good movie. How the fuck?
Great movie.
Wow, what a jump we just did.
It's all right. We rant.
I know that is what we do. You know what? One of the other things I really like about
Entertainment Tangents.
That's what we should change the name. Rant and Tangents. What I like about this movie is the interconnection of everybody, because it gives you that small town feeling, right?
Yep.
When Randall's talking about his cousin that broke his neck trying to suck his own dick.
Yes.
And then he's talking to the doctor at the end of the movie, and he's like, hey, is that when they see the guy that was dead and she just finished having sex with him, it's like, is this the weirdest thing you've ever seen? He goes, no, actually, I had to work on a guy that broke his neck sucking his own dick. And Randall's like, ooh. So it's like the callbacks that they do within the movie itself fucking are awesome. Yeah. And again, like I love
writing.
That's so good.
Yeah, it's Kevin Smith.
And that's what makes this movie just fucking slap for me. Like this really does. I very much enjoy this movie. It was good, man.
Yeah, it's good. And again, I'll say, even though Kevin Smith wrote the other ones, I don't feel like this is the same level of genius in the second one.
No.
You know what I mean? I think there's very much the same level of genius in like Dogma. In some of his other movies, it's a different level. It's a different type of movie.
That's what it is for me, Dogma. That's
subject. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you can put that kind of stuff in there. So you're playing in a different world, even though Jay and Silent Bob are in it. You're playing in a different, thing, a different subject matter. So it's all that to play with.
Yeah.
Which I thought was great.
Nope.
You know what I mean? Chris Rock coming down. That was awesome.
I mean,
talking about the Jesus years, like the missing years, and he's don't talk about that. He's a little baby, he's a little boy, and then all of a sudden he's like a 28-year-old man. Like, you don't talk about that shit in between.
You don't think he was out there fucking?
You know what I mean? Like, that was genius. Like, who fucking talks about that?
Oh, but it for Dogma, there's a lot of things that are in there that like make you really go, wow, that's kind of fucking true. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Which is like, why it got like so much hate. Because
it makes people question shit.
That's right. That's right. That was the problem.
Can't be questioning faith.
You cannot. No. That's why you will get smited.
Smited.
So smite me, almighty smiter. So Bruce Almighty there for you. So just fucking love that movie.
That was pretty good.
Oh my God, Morgan Freeman as God.
As God makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. How many fingers I got up now? It's like 17 fingers in one hand.
Yeah.
Pulls the filing cabinet out. Fucking awesome. Oh my God, that was like one of my first introductions to
Steve Carell. That was the first. It actually took me a while to like Steve Carell because like I didn't kind of like him in that movie. But
he's such a dick.
Yeah, and he played him well. Like he did.
He made,
so this is a big thing.
Really be a dick.
When I watch movies and I see people for the first time. And their character's an absolute fucking asshole.
It imprints on you.
Like it definitely imprints on me. I'm like, I don't like this dude. And then I gotta see him in like something else, but not know that he's in that movie. Like I have to watch. I'm gonna watch this movie for this person, and all of a sudden that person, I'm like, oh, I remember him. Actually, he's pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
All right, that's David Spade for me.
Really?
That's fucking me. That David Spade couldn't stand him. Couldn't stand him in PCU. I don't like any of the what was it? Black Sheep, Tommy Boy.
I fucking love Tommy Boy.
I did not like David.
Love Tommy Boy.
Yeah, didn't like.
And he was meant to be a dick in that movie.
Again, that was his part.
Yeah,
and he played it fucking great.
Oh yeah, really well. I was not a Black Sheep fan. It's basically the same fucking movie.
That's what it is. Yeah. And then he did that show, Just Shoot Me.
Yep.
And I always said I don't know if it was the writers or the actors, but that show was fucking great, and I loved it.
Just Shoot Me.
And David Spade in that.
Wendy Malick and Leslie Tacoma.
Yeah, that was such a great show. Yeah. And when I saw David Spade in that, like I remember the first time going, oh man, he's in this. And I watched a couple episodes, I'm going, oh no, he's pretty fucking funny. Since then, he's hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
I fucking love David Spade.
I've always liked David Spade. I like his sarcastic.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, exactly.
Humor.
But no,
what are you trying to say, fucker? Jesus.
Yeah, no. I saw
you agreed to that a little too quickly, Larry.
Well, listen, like you said, I know you. So
off goes the mic. Hey.
There it goes. I saw him live, like at a private function, and he was the MC for it, and I was like, this guy's fucking great.
Yeah.
I was like legit like 10 feet away from him, and he's just, David Spade's awesome.
Yeah.
David Spade, we shout out to you, my man.
Yeah.
Call us up.
Call us up. We'll get you on the show. Get you on the show.
We could do this.
It might be entertainment tangents at that point, but we'll get you on the show.
Yeah, it could be something else. But yeah, that's how I feel.
Cool. Yeah. I like that. Yeah. I like that. All right, so let's wrap up Clerks.
Wrap it up.
How do you want to wrap it up? Do you want to do anything else before we rate this? Rate this snoogans of a movie. I'm good with this. I think I mean everything. Like again, the Silent Bob sound throughout the whole fucking movie gives his inspirational quote. Yeah.
And then
fucked the dead guy in the bathroom.
She fucked the guy. Yeah, she fucked the. I know we didn't even touch that. Like she fucks the dead guy in the bathroom.
That.
I don't want to touch that. That was kind of fucked up. The inspirational quote from Silent Bob, which again is a great.
Give it to us.
Oh, I didn't have that.
You didn't write it down?
No, I know. Fuck.
All your notes?
Yeah, I suck. Shit. No, I don't have it. I don't.
Basically ends up with not everybody will bring you lasagna.
Yeah, it's basically like, it's, not every woman's going to come bring you a lasagna, whatever it is. And it's like, go fucking after her. Like, don't be a dick. And I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then the food fight between Reynold and him. And basically Reynold's like, yo, you know what? Fucking, shit'll get off the pot type attitude. And I was like, that's fucking it.
Yeah, because Dante the whole movie was being such a fucking pathetic idiot. Like, he's just pining after this girl who's just obviously using him. Clearly just using him. She's having issues with her boyfriend, so she's fucking calling him to whine about her boyfriend. Please, like we haven't been there, but and then you got this other girl who's fucking amazing, and he cares for her, but just keeps pining for this other girl because she's unattainable, because she won't give him the fucking time of day when it comes to relationship shit. And like, what are you doing, man? I've known, believe me, I've been that guy. I've had friends who are that guy, and it's fucking aggravating to watch. You know what I mean?
So I actually have the Randall quote here.
All right, give it to us.
So
before we have to Randall on out of here.
I know, yeah, right. So, you know, Dante's fucking, you get me slapped to the fine, you argue with the, so this is Dante, you get me slapped to the fine, you argue with the customers, and I have to patch everything up. You get us thrown out of a funeral by violating a corpse, and then to top it all off, you ruin my relationship. I mean, what's your encore? Do you like anally rape my mother while pouring sugar in my cast? You know what the real tragedy about all this is? I'm not even supposed to be here today.
That just sets him the fuck off.
Then Randall fucking lights him up. Oh, fuck you. Fuck you, pal. Jesus, there you go, trying to pass the buck. I'm the source of all your misery. Who closed a store to play hockey? Who closed a store to go to a wake? Who tried to win back his ex-girlfriend without even discussing how you felt with his present one? You want to blame somebody? Blame yourself. Mimics, I'm not even supposed to be here today. You sound like an asshole. Jesus, nobody twisted your arm to be here. You're here on your own volition. I'm sorry. They wrote that weird. You like to think the weight of the world rests on your shoulders, like this place would fall apart if Dante wasn't here. Jesus, you overcompensate for having what's basically a monkey's job. You push fucking buttons. Anybody could waltz in here and do your job. You're so obsessed with making everything seem so much more epic, so much more important than it really is. Christ, you work at a convenience store, Dante, and badly, I might add. I work in a shitty video store, badly as well. You know that? You know that guy, Jay's got it right, man. He has no delusions about what he does. Us, we like to make ourselves seem so much more important than the people who come in here to buy a paper for God, or God forbid, cigarettes. We look down on them as if we're so advanced. Well, if we're so fucking advanced, what are we doing working here? Sorry about that, but that was the whole... Like, that one, I was like, wow, he fucking lays into him.
And that's, like, sums it all up. Like, that's what Kevin Smith's great at. Like, he's really good at, like, getting that summation going, and people just having these long monologues and just plastering it to somebody. You know what I mean? Really, and he does that in a lot of the movies.
Yeah.
Like, that happens again in Chasing Amy. We see that again in Mallrats. Like, there's multiple times people just have these long outings. Like, fuck you. Let me tell you what you're doing and why you're being a dick.
Yeah. But you know, it's funny, though, because he calls Dante out for that shit, right? I know people like that in my real fucking life. Like, today.
That was part of the magic of that movie. He wrote that. It wasn't like he imagined. That was kind of like his real life.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, obviously some of the stuff was contrived and that guy in the bathroom. Sure. But like having worked in the convenience store, he's pulling a lot of like real life shit.
Yep.
So he's not just like making this fantasy movie about aliens coming down and shooting up the world. He's just writing about shit he saw every day. Yep. So it makes it real because you do know people like this.
Yeah.
You know the fucking woman who, goes through the fucking, milk like that, and the jackass who's chesting every fucking egg is in your goddamn way at the fucking grocery store. Pick your goddamn eggs and get the fuck out of the way. I got a life.
Yeah, but at the other end, though, I know people that are just like Dante with the fucking poor me, woe is me. Like
all the time.
Oh, I'm so sorry that you had to wake up to go to work today. So did everybody fucking else.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. 100%.
But yeah, so the realness of this movie really kind of hits, but... Yeah, that's all I got for this movie, man. That's all I got.
All right. Yeah, that's it, man. This is, like I said, this is one of my favorites.
It's a great pick to start off.
It really was. Yeah, it's a really good one.
This is gonna be a good month.
What are we doing next? What do you got on the charts?
Are we doing my pick next?
I have. Well, you know what? Gee, let's ask Milo or Bruno. Nope, not here.
Oh, they're not here.
I guess we are doing yours next.
I think Big Marketees. It's something to do about dogs.
Some dogs?
Some dogs. Some kind of dogs.
I don't know who let those dogs out.
I don't know, but
we'll find out.
If you want to hear about the dogs, I think you should listen.
Yeah, we'll color them, though. We'll make sure they're all colored up.
They have to be colored because then that's how you get to...
How do we know?
You have to know which dogs are which ones, right?
Yeah.
So you got to color them.
We should color them up. All right, cool. Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
All right, so let's rate this bad boy. How are we rating this one? What's our rating? How many watts?
I don't... fuck. How many cans of shoe polish?
No, let's go...
which way you want to go then?
How many blunts?
No, because...
Well, it's a fucking Kevin Smith movie.
Yeah, but it was more about Dante. Yeah, all right, yeah. How many blunts? As much as I like this movie, I've got to give it a 2.5.
The fuck is... I'm going to rewind this. What the fuck
I know. Well...
No, you have to explain that shit. No. You can 2.5. That's your rating. I'm not telling you to change it, but you definitely have to explain it.
All right, maybe a 3.
No. Stick with 2.5. Don't pussy out like you did last week. Jesus Christ. The whole lot of you. You and Mila, for God's sakes. Jesus.
Well, no, they talked me down.
It's Mila talked herself down.
So the reason why I
get... She was
get...
on the ledge, talked herself off the goddamn...
So here's the thing. There are a lot of individual parts that I really liked about this movie. But it was a long story. I don't know... He was there, whatever, 7 a.m.
Yeah, long shift.
He closed the fucking store that night.
Well, because the other person never showed up.
Yeah, I don't know. Listen, I don't know. He should have just shut the store and walk.
That's what Randall said. He has no way to say no. Like, I'm more important. The store has to remain open. If I don't keep it open, the fucking world will end because they won't get their goddamn cigarettes.
Right. I mean, again, there's a lot of individual parts I really liked. But there's a lot of other individual parts that I felt like that you didn't need. They didn't need to add the part of them to shut the store down to go to the funeral. Like, I thought that was kind of fucking lame.
I forget, who was the funeral? Whose funeral was it?
Some girl that fucking Dante dated in high school.
That's right.
So it's like, and Randall even said, he's like, you don't even know the girl. He's like, you really want to go? He's like, wow, I feel bad. It's like...
That was kind of contrived. There was no real compelling reason to do that.
Yeah.
Other than for him to, violate the corpse.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's when she goes... So that's another thing. So it's like, how did you go...
They knocked over the casket.
And
they had to run out of the funeral home. But, it didn't push the story along, and it didn't really...
But so when you said...
It didn't add to the story or push anything else into the story. It didn't really have any effect. Indiana Jones did. It had no effect on the rest of the story.
Yeah. Her fucking the dead body, it was funny. I don't know why you had to put that in there, though. I don't
have some kind of reason to get out of there, because she's
right. But what I'm saying though, it's like why
the ambulance.
She goes to the bathroom to finish getting ready, and I'm like, but you're already dressed, whatever. Like, you're already ready. How did you not?
Yeah, what in the convenience store bathroom did you need?
Yeah, it's like, and what made you? She went back there. Obviously, the light didn't work, so maybe she just thought that.
Wouldn't you just leave?
But I guess she felt the body. And thought it was Dante. That's why she was like, oh, Dante. And the guy was like, so yeah, how was the guy looking at the porn when the light didn't work?
I mean, okay, so maybe it went out after he was in there and after he was dead. Because he had been there for a long time. Maybe, so whatever. That's okay. I can buy that. There was no explanation as to why. I don't remember anything happening where they fucking killed a transformer or something like that and it knocked out the light back there. Okay, you have no explanation to it. I get you. However...
The hockey game upstairs on the roof is stupid.
But that's kind of what they used to do. That's what they actually used to do.
Right, but the thing
you throw it into the movie because that's literally what they used to do in real life.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. Why the fuck would you go to the roof? Why not just play in the parking lot? Like I used to. I always thought that was the weirdest thing. I'm like, there's a fucking parking lot.
The roof was always the weird choice, but it is what they used to do. But the roof was kind of a weird choice. Like, what if you fucking knock it off and you go down and get the
and honestly, that roof that they show, I mean, it doesn't mean that's the real roof.
Yeah.
It didn't look that big that you could have.
It was very obstructed too.
Right. So it's again, there was a lot of things that just kind of took me out of it. And if you took those pieces out of it, I'm looking at a movie that's about a fucking hour long.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the reason.
But going back to Caitlin in the bathroom.
Okay.
The lights are off.
Yep.
You leave. You feel his body. You think it's Dante. He's not talking, and it's stiff. Not just his dick. Everything.
Yeah, because he's dead.
Not moving. He's getting rigid at this point.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like your boyfriend or the guy. You nothing. Really? You just started humping it?
Yeah.
This lifeless corpse?
Just because he had a heart on. Just thought it was Dante.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like Dante. I mean, the guy didn't even have a beard.
That doesn't really speak well for him in real life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you remember actually having sex with him when you was that how he did it? Just sat there still as a fucking corpse?
Well, she comments. She's like, oh my God, I never knew that you could do that like that. And he's like, do what? What are you talking about? Yeah, because when she comes back out, Randall's there, Dante's there, and she's like, "Oh, how'd you get out here so fast?"
Right.
And she was like,
"He didn't do anything," which means like when they were actually having sex,
he was
when
just
they were
a dead
together.
fuck.
Yeah, he was just like sitting there lifeless, like laying in bed. She had to do all the work.
No, but she said. She was like, it was so empowering to just, you let me take over and do whatever I wanted, and you just sat there and took it and didn't say anything. Yeah, that she does refer to that.
So fucking creepy.
But again, though, like, I thought that part was stupid. The fucking the hockey game upstairs, and the customer that comes up and he fucks the ball right off. He's like, "Oh, you only brought one ball." He's like, "Yeah, man, I only brought one ball." Like, again, I played pickup street hockey with my friends. Well, there was always more than one ball. Again, you take that part out. Why would you go up to the roof and not the parking lot? So there's just certain things, and I'm like, that's kind of
I guess that begs to the point of like, why in real life did they go up to the roof and not the parking lot? Because that's literally what they would.
Yeah, I don't know.
I imagine they have an answer for that. Like, why in real life they would go up to the roof and not just use the parking lot?
I never got a payoff. So from when Randall shows up to the fucking video store, sorry. When Randall shows up to the video store late and he sees like the customer there, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't think you're gonna get that." And I remember the first time I watched it, thinking that there was gonna be like a big funny payoff.
Yeah.
There was no funny payoff. Like, he goes in, the unlocks it, don't you just walks in? I'm like, that's it? Like, you had that whole banter between the two of you, but nothing came out of it?
I thought that was funny. I
liked him going, "Yeah, what kind of movie you want?" "Oh, she wants, like Paw Patrol, whatever." And he's like, "Oh, I'm on the phone with the distributor right now. I'll make sure I order it." "Yeah, so fuck this and fuck that, and Daddy does this and Dick that and Dick that." And I'm like, "Oh, so that
what
part
was that
was
again?"
Oh, what was the movie
Barney.
you wanted?
You need Barney.
And so that part again. So it's a good movie. It's a great movie. I like a lot of things, and I know that me saying that doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
But for the rating, it's a 2.5 because there's so many parts of it that I could take out. And then, like I said, you take those parts out. It's like this movie's like an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But that hour and 10 minutes, I really like. So I gotta find that balance.
Yeah, have the balance.
Balance. I'm sorry, man. My bad.
No, I'm at a 3.5. Not that you care. I'm at a 3.5 on this one. So you probably thought I was going to go higher.
I did.
Yeah, no, I'm at a 3.5 because I still have my struggles with certain parts of it. The funeral scene is one of my bigger parts of it because it is completely superfluous. There's no reason to have it. It doesn't push the story along. It doesn't add to the story. Other than a funny thing of like, why the fuck did you violate the corpse and then they had to run out of there? And
but how? And that's it. It's like, why even mention that? Well, what did you do? I violate. Like, what kind of...
But it doesn't add to the story. It doesn't give you any real character development. Like, do we need to know that about Randall? Like, we kind of probably got that already, that he would be that kind of person.
Right,
but it doesn't, like, come up again or add to the rest of the story. No. And it doesn't, like, give you any backstory.
The next time you hear about it, it's when Randall's yelling at him about, like, who shut the store to go to a wake?
Right.
That's all.
It's just a reason for him to say something else.
Yeah.
Like, to give him another point to... dig on. Like, okay, there's probably other things he could have said.
No.
You know what I mean? That speech could have been like one line shorter and we would have been just fine.
That would have been fine, yeah.
Yeah, it would have been just one would have been just fine. So that's why. A couple of things like that gave it a 3.5 for me.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. But the nostalgia, I think part for me is the nostalgia of watching this with my brother, who passed away in 2005. You know what I mean? We watched this a lot together. He loved this movie. He loved Kevin Smith movies, and so I think right now I watch a lot of movies for him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? A lot of the Kevin Smith movies I watch.
It happens
because he loved those movies and he loved Kevin Smith and things like that. So I kind of got into watching Kevin Smith being a waker and baker, and I'm not anywhere near. I don't do any of that stuff. So
right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like to be to follow somebody who does that stuff, which I strongly believe against, is more for my brother than anything. You know what I mean? Kind of just remembering. So that's what I do. Although apparently, and I was talking about this earlier, like I guess he's kind of switched it up a little bit. I guess he had some, he had his heart attack a few years ago, and he lost a shit ton of weight because of, since then, changed his diet, changed his habits, stuff like that. But then he was like really into the pot and smoking and stuff like that. But I guess he had another kind of health scare. A mental health scare as well. So he's there's a big People magazine article I have to go read about it and see what happened. Like he's kind of got himself a bit cleaner mentally as well as physically. So, good for him.
Good for you.
Yeah, like he's
Kevin Smith.
Everybody around him is like really happy and proud of him for like the stuff that he's Like, and he seems like that kind of guy. Like, he changed charge. My wife has said it too. Being a therapist, like, he's kind of an eccentric when it comes to that stuff. Like, he's a Captain Overdoer. You know what I mean? Like, when he does it, like, I'm not just gonna smoke weed. I'm gonna be a wake and baker. I'm gonna, like, even with the weight loss, he got like really thin.
Yeah, he got super thin. Yeah,
super super thin. But yet he'd still wear the oversized jacket as if he was still a heavy person. You know what I mean? Like, still like, so it's a body dysmorphia stuff. Like, there's a lot of psychological stuff going on there. So and again, none of this is putting him down or making fun of him in any kind of way. I feel passionately for him. Yeah. I hope everything is well and he gets well and he is well for it. But I think that was kind of like part of his makeup and personality. He just had a lot of that going on. So, I think part of our PSA, if you will, if that stuff's going on in yourself, is just go get help. Like, go seek help. It's out there.
Especially in this day and age, man.
It's out there. Help is out there. You know what I mean? You don't have to do it alone. You're not alone. You know what I mean? You definitely can get help and be a better version of yourself if that's really what you want to do. Because I guarantee you, even if you don't think so, there's somebody that cares.
Somebody cares.
There's somebody cares that you are still here and that you continue to be here.
Absolutely.
So don't think you're not worth it or that you shouldn't be. It's a hard time. It's a hard time. We go through a lot. I work with kids on a daily basis, and it can be not to be Debbie Down at the end of this episode, but it can be tough. It can be tough sometimes. We just went through an anniversary of one of my students who wasn't a student at the time, but had committed suicide or completed suicide, as they call it now. It was tough. It was a tough go. I know the kid for over a decade.
Yeah.
And he was 18, and just he thought the kid had the life by the balls, and apparently was suffering, and the kid was loved from every angle, and then just here today, gone tomorrow. It fucks you up.
Yeah.
Luckily, I was still connected to the family, and saw them at our grand opening, and reached out, and they're good people, they're great people. So it was missed. So if anything, at the end of the day, seek help. Get yourself taken care of, because you're loved and people want you around. So that's my PSA for the evening.
There it is.
All right. Larry, as always, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bruno and Mila, hopefully we'll see you guys again someday back on the pod. Yeah, all right, maybe we'll record with you.
Whenever you guys feel like showing up.
I feel like I won't have to change the fucking beginning again. If we record, get on Fiverr, get that beginning changed. The guys will be like, fucking leave me alone.
Just don't name anybody. Yes. Welcome to Entertainment Rant.
I'm just going to go back to the original. Just talks about me.
No, wait a minute. I like having my name there.
So that's what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to record like 4 or 5 different versions. It's Marco and Larry, Marco and Mila, Marco, just different versions. Marco and Bruno. It's Marco, Mila, and Bruno.
Yeah, that's
Marco,
a full
Larry, and Mila.
Yeah, that's a full factorial. That's.
I'm going to do all different combinations. It's Marco, Larry, and Bruno. It's Marco, Larry, and Mila.
24 combinations.
That's fine. I have a bunch of banks on here.
All right, there you go.
Write out who it is for the initials. Hit this one tonight. Jesus Christ. All right, gang. We are Entertainment Rant at entertainmentrants.com. We appreciate you listening. Drop us a line at engage@entertainmentrants.com. Let us know what you thought of Clerks. Obviously, let us know what you think of the movie and what you thought of tonight's episode. Feel free to give us a rating on Apple Podcasts. Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Connect with us any way you can, all your major podcast platforms. We have a donate button on our website. Like, drop us a line. Podcasting is not cheap or free of any kind. If you'd like to donate to the podcast to keep it going, we greatly appreciate that. I might even throw a bit Larry's way. We'll see. Probably not.
There you go.
All right. So we love you guys. Thank you very much for being there and listening. And we'll check you on the next time. Larry?
Let's rant.
What are we going to do? What?
Let's rant.
Oh, fuck it. Let's go do something.